I felt unsettled, overwhelmed, busy. I was too busy with things I was doing for myself, things I was doing for others. And I felt that I was doing the 3 Ps. Must read this, I must watch that, blah, 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 blah. And then what was going on in my own life. And yeah, it was just that busyness. I must do this, I must do that, I must do this. And I had lists. And so, but because of this understanding, I just thought, what's going on here? What's going on here? And there was something, tapping me on the shoulder like it normally does. And then this spoke to me a few times, but I wasn't quite hearing it. And it took a few weeks, and it just said, do nothing, just stop and do nothing. So what I did over the previous few weeks was I cut back on a lot of 3P stuff. I just cut back. This is what spoke to me. Just do nothing. And yeah, it was what I needed, just to do nothing. And I cut right back and just listened to some Sid when I wanted to. I play ukulele. I hadn't played that for a while. Picked that up again. So it was kind of self-care, but also I needed space. And that's the nice thing about this understanding, noticing when it's a good time just to have some space and do nothing. And from there, you can hear answers if you need them, if there's something for you to hear. But it was a nice thing to be over. And even though I felt really busy and overwhelmed, there was part of me was kind of thinking, this is kind of good because there's something here for me to see. And I knew that, it was, in the past before 3Ps, I, and like a lot of other people, would have been scared. Oh God, this is terrible. But I wasn't worried really too much because I thought, well, this is good. This is good. It's just time to quieten. And it's the most nicest thing, just to do nothing and quieten. Just quieten. Yeah. So it was really useful for me, what you're sort of talking about.
Really beautiful. And I loved what you said about doing the 3Ps. Yeah.
Oh, God, help me. That. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I love what you said there, Wendy, because it's the same sort of thing that I sort of went through at the beginning when I first got these 3Ps, when I first was doing the 3 principles. And then I got to understand that you don't do them, we are them. So yeah, when we settle down, we just show up as the 3 principles. But even knowing that, I still managed to get caught up, and it's not even caught up, it's even that I still was living the way that I was living I used to. And when the way that you said what you said, I've been going through the same thing now, and I really had to break it down. And I had like a big insight into how our old thinking can stay around unchallenged, and my doing the 3Ps just sort of molded into that sort of thinking. And I can break it down to what I've seen. So from I was little, from I was growing up, I sort of told myself, to be a success in this country, or to be a success in general, you have to have your own business. To me, success didn't look like working for nobody. No matter how big the company was, no matter how high my position was, success to me looked like having my own business. And that was just something about me. So blah, 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 doing what I was doing. Now I'm doing what I'm doing. I've always got an idea in my head of having my own business, and that sort of is my success. So no matter what I'm doing, aside from that, or what I've been doing, to actually have my own business, to me, that's like, yeah, that's the first clip in the board for success. So not knowing that this thinking's sort of running, even though I know it's running, but then I said, yeah, do you know what? I've got some nice jobs I'm doing there. So having a business, but I always felt like if I've got half a day or a day where I'm not doing nothing, my brain's usually tending on thinking, okay, how can I start? Right, do this business. All right, this is what I need to do. I need to do that, and I need to do. And because I got kind of busy over the past 3 weeks, I haven't had much time for that. So every time I get a little free time, I had this little rub that I'm not doing. What I'm meant to be doing something. What am I meant to be? Oh, why am I not? And then I really saw that it was because I put having my own business on like a back burner. there was a rub in me saying, no, what you're doing, you're not being successful. You need to. And I sort of saw that as, do I need to own a business to be successful? And I said, no, I don't. And I had that realization a couple of days ago, because the mother of my children, we instill in our children, getting a job is not good enough. You're not studying, you're not going to school, you're not going to go to uni to get a job. You're going to go to uni to start a business and have your own business, so you can have your own independence and your own this and your own that. So knowing I'm programming them like that, but then seeing to myself that that's something just I made up. And I've still got them times, Wendy, but when you said it, it's like you were describing me, when I can see the rubs there, but I look into it and I say, okay, I see where that's coming from. Lean into it a little bit. Is it no, it's not relevant. And like you said, it's showing me something. It's showing me some old residual thinking that I'm clinging on to, but I have to have a business. A couple of days ago, I just said, you know what? I don't have to have a business. I can be proper successful and not have no business. And I still feel that rub, because it's residual and it's like it's running in the background without me knowing, but I know where that rub's coming from, because everything else in my life, or most thing else in my life, is sort of all right. So I know where that rub's coming from. But it's just for me to know now that, again, the principles for me to get rid of that rub, I don't have to study the principles. I just know that I am the principles. And to see that, because a lot of people get caught up with the three principles, right? It must be the thought part, right? It must be the mind part, it must be the consciousness part, and try to get into it. Throw all of that away. When you're looking for something like that, it's got form on it already, so you're not going to find it. The three principles thing, just how you articulated, Mama J, something that is formless in its essence, and that and we manifest that. And when we sort of see that in a simplistic form, we just have to show up and have faith and trust in myself that I will show up from that space. And that little rub there that I was just speaking about has taken so much off my mind. So much off my mind. And it's not to say I won't have my business but when that's right, it will be right. Because my brain always turns on, I deal with homeless people and addicts. My brain's, I can start something with addicts and right, then that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll bump into some mental health and I'll deal with some people with mental health issues and be like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And my brain's always busy like that, just looking for the little, like water, always looking for the little weakest point so it can get in. That's what I'm looking for that business. But I realize I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. When it comes, and you're the perfect example, Mama J, because I said, if there is any sort of form to it, it's like how you bumped into Beyond Recovery. You started looking and someone said, do that. And you're like, oh, all right, let me do that. And then you've done it. And then Beyond Recovery formed, because that was what was in front of you. And you saw that as and I think you was looking in another direction, but that's what presented itself to you. So you just run with it. So yeah, and it could be 10, 20 years. It might never happen. But if it does present itself for me, then I will be ready. I'm not going to be out there looking for it. And to me, I feel that is how I see the principles has benefited me so much in my life. And to even have that insight and that realization, I didn't look into thought, I didn't look into consciousness, I didn't look into mind. I just saw something in myself that I had bought into. But mind, consciousness, and thought had helped me buy into it, but they also helped me get the hell out of there. Yeah. And I can always look back and see, and that's just one aspect of my life I'm talking about. When I get a bit more settled, there'll be other aspects that, because you told me 2 years ago, Derrick, you know what, you don't really have to have a business, you know. I'm looking at you and thinking, oh, you don't mean the best for me, you know. Yeah, you haven't got my best interest at heart, you know, because what do you mean I don't have to have a business? That's how you get, that's success. But from the other day, and this is all learning, because from a few months ago, I'm trying to live by this thing where I want to be successful, but I don't want to know what that looks like. I don't want to know what that looks like. I just want to be happy. And I think if I'm happy, then my success, then that's my success. And that little insight there, what I've just explained, which I'm just realizing now, is putting me on the path to that, to know that another little thing that I thought was success was made up by me, and that doesn't have to be success.